All right, here we are at the point of the year where we don't know how much longer we're going to be doing this because we don't know how much longer the Huskers are going to be playing. Uh, we'll get into it a little more later. It looks like they're probably going to have to win the upcoming Big Ten tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. But let's not start with that. Let's start by welcoming ourselves here. Hi, I'm Andy. You guys know me. Miley is here with us as always. Miley, say howdy.
Hey.
Care to elaborate on hey at all?
That's
just perfect. We get a little butthead in there. I actually did just watch like a Beavis and Butthead clip when I was chilling out before we started, and a raccoon had gone into their house and stolen their nachos, and they were and was laying up in a tree, and they were mad at it, and they're like, "Hey, Beavis, what the hell is that?" And I don't know. I think it's a bear or something. Well, I'm gonna kick its ass. And then Beavis and Butthead fun, and we were off. But we're not here to talk about just Beavis and Butthead tonight, damn it. Let's start by talking about what I had for lunch on Sunday. Oh. There you go. I went to a Cajun seafood boil that my good friends Mark and Kelly have every year. For odd reasons that had become a running joke, I'd missed it for the last 2 or 3 years because I'd forgotten which damn day it was. And finally used, yeah, but guess what I did? I finally used that wonderful calendar feature and set myself a reminder. Isn't that something?
I know it's only been around since like the iPhone became a thing, but yeah, Good job.
Okay, so, I knew my daughter would be there to support me and not at all take glee in my mistakes. But and then their good friend Jim Goodroad, he puts together this thing. I pull up in the driveway and here's a Cajun boiler going, and he's just throwing in crawfish and crab legs and shrimp and corn and potatoes and onions and whole entire like garlic bulbs or whatever with all the clothes. I don't even know what you call the thing. Maybe it's just a bulb. And
You're
I'm
from the South, you should know what this is.
Yeah, this is Louisiana, man. That's a different part of the South with the French speaking Cajun weirdness.
You're the bad part of the South.
If any of you ever want to watch a wonderful Southern horror film that's not about actual monsters, it's from like 1980 or 81. You'll see a lot of stars, like future stars you recognize. It's called Southern Comfort, and for whatever reason, the National Guard thinks it's a good idea to have exercises in the bayou swamp area where they don't really have it mapped out and don't have people that can read a map in the swamp where you can walk 100 yards in and get lost. And and early on they steal a couple of canoes because they're lost, and they're trying to tell the Cajuns. Then the Cajuns spot them, and they're just standing there looking at them, not making any threatening gestures, just kind of confused why the army's paddling around in their canoes. And they're yelling, "Hey, we'll bring him back." Well, they're running around with blanks, and one just brilliant idiot thinks it's going to be cool to take a few shots with the blanks with an automatic weapon, and the next thing you know, a Cajun blows one of their heads clean off of the rifle, and spend the next hour and a half just being hunted by Cajuns and scared shitless in the swamp. Southern Comfort, Powers Booth. Check it out, y'all. But anyway, the ones who aren't killing the Army Rangers, or the National Guard, I should say, are eating wonderful food like this. And just wanted to point out, this is the kind of thing that happens once a year. I can't wait for it. I took this picture. You can see in his right hand, he's getting ready to squirt the melted butter all over it, to make it even better. And I didn't take any pictures of us standing around because that just looks like a bunch of people who, escaped from the plane and alive and just walked out of the Andes and are eating their first food. It is just an ugly scene of hungry people digging in, and then we don't even make a dent. There were like shifts of people coming over to eat this stuff, and it was wonderful. But anyway, we should talk some softball since it's a softball show. Am I right?
I can share my theory.
Oh, do you
on
want to
corn.
you want to tell people your corn theory? Do your best not to grow. There's no way not to gross the hell out of everybody on this one, but try. Don't try to be graphic. Let people use their imaginations and go.
Okay. So what confuses me about corn, and has always confused me about corn, is how do you eat it, chew it all the way up, and then it goes into your stomach, and then when you poop, it's whole again. Like, how does that even happen?
Like the kernel's in the toilet, let's say.
Yeah, the whole kernel.
And I'm going to give you the same answer I gave you before. You're not chewing it all up.
Yes, you are.
So what you're saying is, tell them your theory. It's your theory. You tell
them. I mean, the only theory I have is it just comes back together in your stomach.
I wish I knew a way to get a poll on here. Let's see. Let's go to the comments real quick and see if that got anything going. Highlander Gun. Hey, everybody. Highlander, always great to see you in the comments. And let's see. Well, nothing yet. We'll get to the rest of the comments. But anyway, yeah, my theory on that is you're just not chewing all your food, but it's corn, so you're not getting.
It's everyone. It's not just me.
I know. Not everyone chews their corn all up.
Except your son, who chews for 3 minutes before he swallows.
What are you doing checking your brother's poop for kernels?
I'm not checking his poop. I'm watching him chew the same bite for 3 minutes.
Okay, well.
How is there something that's whole still in your mouth?
Well, I'm saying then he's not finding any kernels if he's being that patient.
He probably is.
Well, if your stomach reconstituting corn kernel solid is true, then okay, I'll grant you that that's the only possible answer. I just think you're chewing it faster than others and you're finding kernels.
No, that's what Twitter says.
But again, we're not just here to talk about Cajun food and corn kernels in your poop. And there's softball to talk about, damn it. The Big Ten tournament's coming up and we're becoming distracted. So let's get to it. We had the Minnesota series, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a graphic of just what everything that had to happen for us to get one of those last two buys, finish third place or fourth place. We went into the weekend in our four-way tie for fifth, and so you had in third place Rutgers, fourth place Minnesota, four fifth place teams. Then you actually had Ohio State back in sixth with a mathematical chance to get in there, but there would have had to have been a lot of upsets. So let me pop that up. So what you're looking at is what place we would get, and could we make it if we go at least 2-1. Now we could have gone 2-1 and not gotten into fourth place if, as it shows on the bottom there, Indiana, Penn State, and Purdue didn't all lose at least one game. Now, Indiana was going to lose a game. They were playing. They've been a pretty impressive team this year. They've been like higher up in the power rankings than I think a lot of people expected. But they weren't going to go out and sweep Northwestern. Like Northwestern had some ridiculous home winning streak, so they were going to lose a game. Penn State lost their first game to Rutgers, I believe. Or no, Penn State won their first game. But then Purdue, who was the team I was the most worried about because they were playing the worst team of all the teams trying to get a bye, and they were playing Michigan State, who was tied for last with Iowa. And I feel we should have our moment of Iowa. Iowa was hosting the Big Ten tournament, and Iowa didn't make the Big Ten tournament. The bottom two teams don't get to go. And even though Michigan State either swept Purdue or won 2 out of 3, but that wasn't good enough to get them out of one of the last two places. So you have your host basically putting on a party. It's like they get to put on a party, but they're not actually allowed out into the living room and the dining room area. That Iowa's hosting the party, but they have to stay in the kitchen and wear the butler suits and just butt. That's right. So we get a good first day. We win. Indiana goes down. Purdue goes down. You needed Rutgers to win to possibly have us finish 2-1 and still finish third to at least win one game, and they didn't. They lost, but we weren't done yet. We go play Saturday. Now Rutgers beats Penn State and beats them twice on Saturday, so we don't have to sweat out a Saturday and Sunday. They were playing a doubleheader that day because I think there was a chance of rain rolling in on Sunday, and they didn't want to take the chance. So here's the thing: we could have gone 2-1 if Rutgers had gone 1-2 against Penn State, and then Indiana and Purdue lost the one game. Then we could have beat them out for third place. So we win that second game. Rutgers beats Penn State, but they beat them twice, so we don't get third, we get fourth, and Rutgers is ahead of us. So it all worked out. We lost on Sunday. Would have been nice to go 3-0 and finish third, and then here are your standings. Let's see. Let me get Highlanders. Hi, everybody off of there. I didn't. Miley told me I'm leaving those up there. That's your job.
Oh, okay.
So here we are. We're in fourth place now. They actually make it look. Yeah, we're 2 games or 1 game behind Rutgers because we have 2 fewer wins and we're matching them in the loss column. Now, what did I tell you about those 2 weather games they canceled? One against Illinois, who we just scored, I think, 14 runs or 15 runs in an inning on the day before, and then they called off Sunday's game because it was damp and cold and snowy and yeah. And let's face it, somebody probably was going to get hurt if they did play that game. But anyway, and then we get a game canceled against Northwestern where we had a 5-0 lead and they had a plane to catch. If we play those games and they end as we expect and wins, all of a sudden we're 14-9 and we're getting third place because we beat Rutgers 2 out of 3 head to head. Now, in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? I'm going to say no. Northwestern and Michigan were pretty interchangeable. We played them about evenly, and we actually got a big lead on Northwestern in Game 3 after, like a couple of close games, and they beat the crap out of us in the Saturday game, but lost a close game, got knocked around by them, but then we're in the process of doing the same thing back to Northwestern when it happened.
Whenever I think of a team having a flight to catch, all I can think of now is Lisa Bluter. This isn't Big Ten protocol.
We're going to make those T-shirts next year. I swear to God, for the Iowa game, we've got to have T-shirts that say these aren't Big Ten protocols.
Yeah.
On the back, this is bullshit, and then a picture plane and her like shaking her fist at Markowski. There's really a lot to do. We can do there. We've got a lot of time to plan for it, and I'm sure if we get John worked up, he'll come up with something that'll be graphically pleasing. But anyway, there we are, fourth place. And then then how does it set up? Let's see. Where are my tournament brackets here? Yes, it looks like we might get to play Minnesota for a fourth straight game because they
Oh,
finished fifth.
goody.
Now, if we're looking at Minnesota and Illinois had if you remember her, they have one pretty decent pitcher, Tori McQueen, and they've got Kelly Rayona, who I don't think was really on the map big time when we played them, but she finished the season pretty hot because she hit 350 with 10 homers, 30 ribbies, and then 10 stolen bases. So power, speed, all of that. Tori McQueen's their best pitcher. Now, here's the thing: if they can pull that upset though, and we get Illinois, their pitching staff they're like Minnesota. Their pitching staff kind of falls apart after one person. So either way, I think we could be looking pretty good because I'm guessing Minnesota is going to throw Bry. I'm assuming his last name is just pronounced Enter. Bry Enter. It's spelled Enter. And I'm assuming they'll throw her because you've got to treat every game as a must win. It's a single elimination tournament. You can't really say throw a lesser pitcher and hope for the best. So you're going to throw your best pitcher as much as you can, but they're going to start getting a little tired if, say, you move along in the tournament and have 4 straight games and are pitching the same person over and over. Like that, it's not necessarily rough on their arm. It's just that's some stamina being taken out of you there. Trust me. So it looks like we'd play, likely we'll get Minnesota. They're a better team than Illinois. And then we got to figure out the problem of Jess Oakland, Sydney Strelo, and Taylor Craft again. They hit the ball pretty well against us. I think we kept. Did Oakland hit a home run on Sunday?
No.
Okay, so I think
don't think there were any home runs on Sunday, if I remember.
Okay, yeah, and I don't think we gave up a home run to her, and she's leading the conference with 19. And then, but yeah, after Bryant entered, I think she threw, over half the innings. The next pitcher who threw any innings to note, I don't think they had anybody else that threw more than like 30, 40 innings, something like that. Then you get somebody with an ERA in like the 5s, and we got to them. We got to them late in the Friday game. We got to them late in the Saturday game, and we still got some runs in the Sunday game, but I think Sarah just got tired because Sarah pitched most of every game. Let's talk about that. Was it the second game where she literally came in with 1 out and pitched 6 and 2/3 innings, pitched the rest of the game, only gave up the 1 run. The bats came alive. We knocked the hell out of them like 8-3. And I would say that's because that's a good hit. That's a very good hitting team. It's their pitching staff that you can get to. And I like our chances to get to it again, but you never know. We played a couple close games with them. And then I would say our chances are pretty good to get Northwestern. And here's why. Here was Purdue with a chance to just come out of nowhere and grab a spot, and they had the easiest pathway to it, and we're out of it right away. Lost 3 in a row. And Indiana, I think, will beat Purdue. Could be a good game. You never know. Purdue might bounce back. And I feel like Indiana could give Northwestern some trouble, but they're going to be throwing Ashley Miller at whoever wins that game, and I like her to shut that team down, which would lead to us going boom, playing – was that game 9 at 6 p.m. on Friday. And Northwestern, I got to like our chances.
This is 4 p.m.
Let's say 4?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking all over the place.
Blind.
Okay. I'm blind as a bat, damn it. But yeah, Northwestern, we jumped on 5-0. Hey, and the game where they beat us, we got to Ashley Miller and we bumped her ERA up from like 105 to 140 something. So and then let's just go stretch it all the way out. Then if we beat Ashley Miller, we probably get Durkowski or somebody like that again if we get Michigan in that championship game. And we have gotten to, I want to say we've gotten to some of the best pitchers in this league. We got to Bridget Nemeth when we played Penn State. She just had to go out and get her first hit of the year by hitting it over the fence against us. So she got us with the bat, not her arm. We got to Ashley Miller when we played them, and when we played Laura Durkowski, they had to pull her late in that first game because we were starting to just rip the ball on her. And she's a very good pitcher, but she comes with a lot of like change of pace. She likes to throw a change up, and she has good speed. And I mean, she had Sam Bland figured her out late because she was looking so bad where Sam had a couple at bats where she threw that change up and Sam would go like up, hesitate, and then try to finish her swing. But then she got up and hit a home run off her in the top of the eighth. She might have been out by then. No, I think she was still in, and they brought the other gal on in the ninth. Whatever the case, we've gotten to these good pitchers that we're going to face. So don't give up on us. It's a tough road to climb, but it is not an impossible road. And I would even call it similar to the time they won in 22 when it was Liv Farrell and Courtney Wallace. And they were not the most of the three games they faced probably the three best pitchers in the tournament. Courtney and Liv just kept hanging in there, battling, keeping the game close, and then the bats would come alive and they'd figure these ace pitchers out. And I like their chances. I think they've shown against them this year they can do that. They can get to these guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they've held on in every single game they've been in. They've really challenged all of these good teams. I mean, Michigan, we lost all three of those games, but they hung around for each game for a little bit. So
yeah, the first two were nail biters. The first two, I was just say those were nail biters that we were in position to win twice. We had Bland hit the home run in the top of the eighth, and then we got the two quick outs, but couldn't hold off the run. And then they loaded the bases after they scored the run to tie it, but we got out of that. And then on Saturday, I believe that's when Emerson Cope started getting hot. Was that weekend, and she after hitting the home run the day before, I believe it was a home run in that same game. Then she doubled a leadoff double, and we had the tying run on second, and then couldn't get her home. And so, but we were in those games, and those were tight games, and maybe that was Michigan's home field magic, and they won't have that in Iowa City. So,
yeah.
So who knows? But there's what we're looking at tournament wise. Let's see what I want to mention. Yeah, we've had our little thing called Path to the Dance. I'm not going to bring up our funny little graphic again because basically we actually dropped a spot in the RPI. I believe we're 53rd right now. So I think that, I mean, even if it would move us up into the tournament, I think we'd still have to win 3 straight games. And even then, we're probably just getting in as the conference champs. I can't see that bumping us up like the 13 or 14 spots we'd probably need to bump up to have an outside chance. All right, let's go to some comments here. We'll work our way up to it. Highlander asks us, so what's next now? The season is over. I've been reading alternate dimensional news again. I'll talk more about it when I know we're doing our last episode, but I'm not giving up this spot. We'll be doing something else that will both involve sports and fun. Let's just put it that way. So we'll find something for you to do on Tuesdays. Yeah, and he says, hey, you're talking about the food. That looks great. Reminds me of when I lived in Louisiana. It was great. It really, really was. Connor, good old Connor. Pig Sheriff from Samurai Jack is the greatest Cajun character of all time. I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
You know who that is?
Nope.
But I'm telling you what, he sounds great. Pig Sheriff, the Cajun character. I might have to see what I can find on TikTok and YouTube. What were you saying?
I said, what the hell is Samurai Jack?
I'm guessing.
Should bring him in here and ask him.
No, let's not do that. We allow Connor enough attention. Highlander, yeah, here's mine. Highlanders nailed mine. What about the assistant coach from the Waterboy? Was it Blake? No, not Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin was a basketball player.
That's the basketball player. Blake, but it's Blake Clark, comedian friend of Adam Sandler's. He played the assistant coach, and he's running around eating like those muffins with frog legs sticking out of them, and the horrifying scene in the montage at the end with the winning touchdown, and all of a sudden you look and he's playing with nipple rings, and and he's just doing this
hot minute.
He's just doing this amazing gibberish. He was wonderful. I agree. Connor Smith even goes close second. Okay, Vince Watson. Corn likes poop. It's fertilizer, so it must be growing. So, Miley, Vince Watson has support for your
Thank
corn.
you.
And he says Nebraska knowledge. And you know what? That's damn right. We're Nebraska. If there's some weird corn thing going on in people's guts that are causing all this consternation when they find the floating kernels, then we're the state that ought to be.
Those are not floating; they're embedded in your poop.
Yeah. Says he thinks Corn Nation should know more about the science of corn. Yes, it is a failure. We're far from perfect, and we admit it daily. And yeah,
I like this one.
Now they're dragging John into it. Maybe John could do a history of corn video.
That would be funny.
Yeah. Well, John's on this black and white history kick, and God bless him. He's putting a lot of time into that, and it's actually some pretty impressive stuff. But anybody that talks to him, don't mention that to him. I don't want him getting a big head. And Highlander's actually cooking corn on the cob right now.
Let us know what happens tomorrow. No, I'm kidding.
It says 25 minutes out, and if I'm looking at the clock right, he's down to about 19 minutes out. Connor wants to know if Highlander bought his corn from a roadside stand as we're starting to go off the rails here. Look, there we go. Local stores sells local grown, and Connor goes banger corn, and I even spit a little on my mouse pad there because I'm just starting to drool about corn again, I guess.
Corn.
Gonna laugh, guys. Thanks for the corn talk. Keep the comments going. Well, I guess it's Corn Nation, and if somebody gets upset because we want to actually talk about corn, even though technically we're talking about corn poop, but whatever.
Then sue me.
I figure somebody does it. It ought to be us. So that's corn talk. So where are we at? Nebraska's got to win it all. Oh, I know where we are.
Where?
Well, first of all, I wanted to throw a couple pictures up. She didn't win any awards for it, but Sarah Harness pitched amazing. She's my MVP of the weekend, simply because we expect the bats to come through against a pitching staff like that. Here was Sarah. She kind of turned into the number 2 starter, but now Kaylin Kinney came out and just didn't have her stuff this weekend. I think, but she'd been pitching a ridiculous amount of innings, so that's not surprising. I think Rhonda finally just sat her down on Sunday, didn't let her come in when it started, when Sarah started getting hit around a little. But amazing weekend for Sarah Harness. Great way for a senior to go out in her last regular season games. She was a transfer from, I believe it was Southern Illinois 2 years ago, where I think she'd been all conference there and wanted to give it a shot, where I guess we'd probably call the Big Ten a Power 6 or 7 conference in softball. But guess who did get awards? It was Sydney Gray, got her 3rd Big Ten Player of the Week award of the year. And
looks like it's gonna break.
What's that?
In that last picture, the bat is bending.
Well, that gives you an idea of kind of of what happens at contact. Those bats get a little. It's like a hockey stick when people are like that. Those things don't break when they bow like that. It's like, nope.
Sometimes, but not always.
Yeah, but not all. No, like not as many times as it happens. But Sid, third time Big Ten Player of the Week. That is only the eighth time it has happened in Big Ten history since they had softball and given out Player of the Week awards, and it's only the 3rd time it's happened since the current Big Ten came together in like 2013, since the Big Ten expanded, finished coming together. And so that's the 3rd time in the last 10 years that somebody's been the 3-time Player of the Week. And you look at Sid, it's like her stats are not overwhelming. She hits about 275, 280. She finished with 10 home. I think that finished her at 10 homers, which tied her for about 4th or 5th in the conference. But she hit, 8 of those 10 homers in 3 weekends. And so when she got hot, she was hot. This last weekend, I think she was 6 of 11, 2 homers, 7 RBIs in the 3 games. And when Sid gets hot, she just takes over a weekend. It's, is she always hot? No, but I think Rhonda had a feeling because she moved her up to 3rd in the order, and she answered the bell and just crushed it. So congrats to Sid. That's something. I mean, let's see. Billy Andrews won 2, Sid won 3. Does Billy Andrews have the better stats? But yeah, when, when Sid gets hot, look out. I just picture managers in the other dugout when she starts roping it and maybe hits that first home run. And they just, this season, I just picture them kind of going, ah, shit, why me? Why me? It, she has to do it. There's, how many softball weekends, and I catch one of the Sid Gray Player of the Week weekends that are just shot out of the cannon 3 times a year. But that's fantastic. That's fantastic for her. But those were my 2 players of the weekend: Sid Gray, Sarah Harness. Backs against the wall. You got to go out and at least go 2-1, and they got it done. And what was funny was they were matched up. Those 2 teams were matched up on paper so even. Their ERAs were like 2 points apart, like 423 and 425 or something. The team batting averages were within 5 points of each other. The records were almost identical. But here was the difference, and here was why I like this to win that weekend, is that Minnesota did it by playing the bottom 4 teams more than anyone else. Nebraska got to that record by playing the top 4 teams. They played the top 4 teams 11 times. Would have been 12. One was a rain out. And 9 of those 11 games were on the road. So for everybody like to crab a little about the football schedule, the softball schedule was harder. And they still managed to battle their way into the top 4 and getting a bye. So that's something else. And then especially with all the injuries to Jordy and Caitlin Olinsky, not Caitlin Neal, Abby Squire, Leah Tokheim, just the way they battled. I don't know how this weekend is going to go for them, but I would tell you, do not bet against them. Don't even think about it. I got a few more comments. Let's go ahead and check those here. Let's see. Somebody knows John. Vince Watson, the fearless leader, does a lot of content from the toilet. Well, I could sit there and laugh at that, but that's where I do some of my best sports research. So I can't point a finger at anybody else.
You sit there for 45 minutes.
Well, at least I'm not doing this from the hoops. So you just be grateful for the little victories.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised you're not.
Well, maybe we'll make it a special next year and just watch that number of people watching number just start ticking down. All right. There's a gray fungus that sometimes grows on corn, and people from south of the border consider it a delicacy. Good for that.
It sounds like Fermunda cheese.
Yeah. No, Miley, stop. Okay, moving quickly on. Vince is calling it corn smut. Who knew this was going to turn into corn night? This is like I've never been happier that Miley just talk about kernels in the toilet. And there we go. I wonder if there's any corn in that content. so yeah, keep the corn talk coming, I guess. So that's where we are. Nothing to do but wait till Thursday. See who wins tomorrow between Minnesota and who did I say they were playing? Illinois. And I will be hitting the road Thursday morning for that game. This is one of those things. I've got a room for one night, and if we win that game, then I'll look for maybe a Friday night room. Because here's the thing, just all the reasons we find to dislike Iowa City. Well, this weekend is Iowa's graduation, and if you go on, or I should say, me going on my Hotels.com app, looking for the hotel. And what did I find? Oh, they've got everything in there. They've got it from top to bottom. If people have an opening, it's on hotels.com. But boy, the difference in looking for the Thursday night room versus the Friday night room. Why? Iowa's graduation, their commencement exercises are on Saturday. So a lot of people are, a lot of parents rolling into town for that night. And the hotel I'm staying at now, I think I got the room about, $40-$50 cheaper. I saw some rooms that were going for about 200 in kind of the pricier hotels that were going for like $240 Thursday night and $440 on Friday night.
Oh, hell no.
So yeah, they're going to the max of their allowed gouging, unless maybe the Olympics were in Iowa City. And
God.
Yeah, you're never getting that Iowa City. You're not
Olympics.
maybe no, let's not make the joke we all want to hear is with the Olympics. we'll let that slide. But no, that it is kind of funny to see gouging in action. Let's see. Let's check the comments one last time. Connor's saying, and I assume he's talking about the gray corn fungus, that apparently it goes well in quesadillas. Again, just something I'm going to take your word for. Highlander threw away about an acre of it a few years back. He goes, I didn't know what it was. An acre of the fungus? Well,
That's gross.
you could have rolled it down to the border and sold it like gold.
Do they smoke it down there?
Do they what?
Do they smoke it?
Smoke corn fungus?
I feel like they smoke anything down there.
Well, I guess we'll address that next week. That could be corn fungus smoking week on our. We don't know if it's going to be our get ready for regionals pod or our year end softball pod. That's the world we're in now. The next game the Huskers lose ends their season probably, unless they can get to the NCAA tournament. But yeah, they're looking at having to go 3-0 and beat the top two teams in the conference. You know what? They've done it before. Well, actually, I think they beat the first and third place team because somebody took Northwestern, or the second and third place teams because somebody took Northwestern out 2 years ago. But however they do it, let's see them do it. Let's see anything else. I'm kind of gonna let these roll with this corn thing. Vince says corn smut is the fungus, so smoke smut. Connor, you definitely don't want a fungus in your lungs. All right. I tell you what, we're gonna shut her down here after Connor Smith.
Oh, I was gonna talk about volleyball spring game since we talked about football spring game.
Go for it.
Okay. Well,
go volleyball.
Hell yeah. The team looked very strong, in my opinion.
Just getting a propel.
Okay. Freshman Skylar Pierce really came out very strong, and if I were Harper Murray, I'd be stealing shit too, because her spot on the team is definitely in question, I feel like, after everything she's going through. But I mean, we have Skylar Pierce, Lindsay Krause, and John Cook said she's only back to about 75% after her injury. And she looked really good. And then Taylor Landfair just stepped on campus today. She's transferring in from Minnesota, and she was Big Ten Player of the Year, not this last season, but I think the season before that.
Who was Big Ten Player of the Year this last season?
That bitch from Wisconsin. What's her name? I can't remember her name, but I don't like her.
Well, when we talk Wisconsin volleyball.
Oh God.
Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, plus we have another transfer from San Diego, Layla Blackwell, middle blocker, coming in to replace Maggie Mendelson, who we lost to Penn State. So I definitely can. Oh yeah, no, not Smrek. I definitely think we can return to the national championship this year. It's definitely gonna be tough again. If we play Texas again, it'll definitely be tough because they're loaded to the brim. They have yet another Husker transfer in Whitney Lonstein, who burned a lot of bridges with John Cook when she left. But so she's
that could be its own episode.
What?
I said that could be its own episode.
Yeah, really could.
Going down that path tonight.
No. So
hey, quick question for you. Who is and you might have said her name, and I haven't committed memory. Who's the incoming freshman? Is she from Bennington?
Oh yeah, Olivia Mock.
Mock, that's it. And I believe their family's house got taken out by one of the tornadoes.
Yeah. They live on the lake in Bennington, and yeah, she said that was very hard to go see. So it's Franklin. Yeah, thanks Vince Watson. Sarah Franklin was the Big Ten Player of the Year this last season. Yeah.
Oh, Dents do it too. That's not. Nope. Yeah, Franklin. There they go. Connor and Vince together. Sarah Franklin. But anyway. So. Yeah, because I had heard that she looked really good in that game too.
Oh yeah, she looked really good. I don't really see her playing much this season with Lexi Rodriguez and Lainey Choboy. There's also Macy Bosiger, but Bosiger just really comes in to serve. So.
Well, and the thing is,
maybe they'll redshirt Olivia this season. I mean, I'm sort of hoping they redshirt her because I would like to see her play 4 years. And again, with Lexi and Lainey here, I don't really see her getting tons of playing time, but we'll see what she does with her, what he does with her.
Well,
uh,
and real quick, that's the thing. If you, as a recruit, you know who's playing your position. So I got to believe she's not walking on campus thinking that she's going to start taking playing time away from those two right away.
and
I
if,
think she has to know you're waiting for Lexi to
yeah,
graduate, and then because this is her senior year, correct?
yep.
Okay, or that next year or whatever. Um,
I think I
but
heard that Olivia might not be on scholarship right now. I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe
I
she is.
wonder,
I
I
can't
wonder,
remember.
I wonder if she's not on this semester, but then she'll be on when
Yeah,
school starts next.
that might be it.
Yeah, because you get to some of those sports, you have to chop up some of those scholarships a little
Yeah,
more. There's I know in like it was like wrestling and baseball. I remember were two sports where very few players had a full scholarship because they're splitting them up between the guys. And that's one good thing about the NIL is that some of the money now is finding its way to those guys as well.
yeah.
So I think we're able to get more guys, at least their school paid for, who aren't, the ones who can bring in the bigger money.
One thing
Um,
that I like about volleyball too is that they actually play another team for their spring game. Like football has red, white, or whatever.
right.
But volleyball actually plays another team. I mean, it's usually a team that's not as good as them. Like
Sure.
we played Denver this year, and who did we play
UNO.
last?
We played UNO in the big game last year. Well,
No, that was
that
the
wasn't the
stadium
spring game.
game.
That
That
was the
was the
stadium
spring
game.
game. Yeah,
And then they
but
ended up making the tournament.
yeah, it's cool to see them actually play a real opponent because it feels like a real game, even though we're expected to blow them out.
Sure.
But
And they understand that, but then it's a fun experience for them to be part of that Nebraska game and be, because I'm assuming they didn't have any trouble getting a lot of people to make the trip to Kearney or
yeah,
what.
probably not because it's not that. I mean, Kearney's not that far from
And
Denver, so
and I saw a neat thing where they do the thing where they introduce the players and like throw a ball to someone in the stands, and I saw that
Merritt Beeson.
Merritt Beeson ran over and gave the volleyball to a little girl, and
He's
that's a little girl that's going to be telling dad to put her in volleyball camps when she's in second or third grade, probably. That's the she's not that he's having to carry her around. She's little right now, but that's kind of one of those things that's going to stick with her, and that's going to be a memory.
Yeah, Merritt Beeson's definitely she's my favorite on the team.
she's just she
I
seems
love
like
Merritt Beeson. She's
yeah,
a really good person on and off the court. She's a really good leader. I mean, she stepped in last year, first season with the Huskers, and she was a captain. So that just goes to show you how much they respect her and how good of a leader that she is. So
sure. All right. Well, thank you for the volleyball update. That was exciting. I get excited for it. I enjoy reading your articles and those Bry's articles. I like the way you guys cover the volleyball for
Beth,
us. What's that? Beth. Yeah, Beth. Sorry, I get those two mixed up. No offense, ladies, if you're watching. So anyway, I think that's it for tonight. Nothing to do but wait till I gotta hop in the car, and I'm gonna I think I'm bringing the Corn Nation shirts to wear to those games at Iowa. Because hey, I'm not wearing Husker logo gear. I am wearing the logo of
the
my
corn.
my part-time employer, Corn Nation. And if it gets an Iowa fan or two triggered, then yeah, my work here is done. Usually, I will say this: most of the time, I don't think I've ever met any of the athletic department people that help out at these things. It was Michigan State; they were great. At Oklahoma State, they were great. The gal at Michigan this year, Leah, was wonderful. But felt really welcome there. And I'm sure it'll be the same way with Iowa. I did see where our press box, because they're like the Lincoln. Matt Smith was warning me. One of the communications people for the athletic department was going, "You're probably going to be outside," and I'm like, "Hey, I was outside for a game, and at Michigan State. I was outside the entire time at the Oklahoma State Regional. Softball fields aren't built with huge press boxes, so
Yeah.
that's the nature of the game. I guess the email I got, though, this one's different, says the media tables will be on top of the hospitality truck behind the right field fence. So I'm picturing a place where we're in danger of falling off a truck and maybe in play for home runs hit to right field. So that'll keep the adrenaline going and keep me paying attention to the game. If I know a softball could be headed for my melon, or like one wrong step and I'm going over the side and onto some media person going into the hospitality truck, and what the hell goes on in the hospitality truck? Is there going to be dancing ladies and champagne? I mean, let's have all the hospitality.
That gives me like Michael Scott vibes.
Oh, absolutely. I was just doing it to see if I could get the expression I got on your face where it's like, no, I'm sure it'll be fine. They've got a media tent there where we can type it up afterwards and that sort of thing. And I'm looking forward to it. And I've got a nice hotel, and let's go Big Red, and let's start again. If it's Minnesota, start again with Minnesota. And if you get upset by Illinois, then we'll take you out and slap you around a little too, fighting the Illini. We're going all the way. I just don't want it to be over. I want to go to a regional. And think about this. How many months ago was it where I was thinking, well, I was a little disappointed because I'm like, well, with Jordy, we're going to host a regional. I can't see us not being one of the top, 32 teams or whatever, or 16 teams.
I mean, we sold out our home tickets too, our season tickets.
Yeah, they did that before Jordy got hurt.
Yeah, no, I know, that's what I was saying.
There was actually, I guess, about 100, 150 people who hadn't paid for them yet and just didn't.
Oh.
And it's like, you scumbags.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would hope that those names are on a list that won't be last in line, that with a healthy Jordy next year will be last in line, and hopefully that line's too long. And hey, when you commit to the team, not to the player. Mm-hmm. All right. On that high and mighty declaration, thanks as always to everybody. Thanks to Connor and Highlander and Vince for chiming in. It was a lovely corn discussion, as disgusting as it might have been at its core. But thanks, Miley, for bringing it up. It was corn night.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let's see. We will. Yep. Oh, one last one from Vince Watson. We got to always mention football. And I did see that Joel Klatt has Nebraska at number 22 next year.
That's so nice of a Colorado alumni.
Well, and here's the thing is Joel Klatt, I've always enjoyed Joel Klatt as a commentator, because even when he's working the Colorado stuff, he really, I know some people blew up at him this year, but most of the time, and it's been quite a few years since he played, he's usually very good, I think, at keeping things neutral, at not playing the part of the Colorado fan, So I'm wondering right there if he's trying to curse us. It's like, no one pick us in the top 25. It's like, we haven't had a winning season in like 10 goddamn years.
Hasn't been so long.
Just pick us to be crap and let us surprise, like the basketball team this year.
Yeah.
Pick us dead last in the conference. The divisions are going away. Pick us dead last, and then we can be this great story and we storm up. Not, we're expecting better. So on Joel Klatt putting us at number 22, Miley, thanks for joining me. I hope we get more than just one more of these, because I've been having a ball all year. Say good night to everybody.
Good night, GBR.
Go Big Red, and we will see you next week. But I have no idea what the circumstances will be. Everybody, cross the fingers and all the other superstitious nonsense you can think of.
Wear the same underwear.
Yeah, we need all that Haitian voodoo we can get if we're gonna make this happen. I'd rather be lucky and other teams cursed than good. So good night, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Miley, and thanks everybody. Enjoyed it. Go Big Red.